Uh, yes. So EVidyaLoka, after the lockdown had begun, what we experienced was that a lot of children are at the risk of dropping out forever, that they might never come back to school because the socio-economic reasons force them and their families to get into other, alternate professions or migrate or different reasons that we can imagine. So in support of that, what we wanted to do was we wanted to bring people together and have a series of webinars on what better things await when the schools are back and what amazing things have been done in the past. So we named it Back to eVidya School in two connotations. One is that back to eVidya School, this is a demonstration of how the children learn. And that is one aspect. Of course, most people would be well versed with technology, and you don't need another person telling you how much technology can enable. The other thing is that we have a campaign running that says Back to Vidya School, where we seek support to get all the children in rural India who are at the risk of dropping out back to school. So with this, I welcome all of you. Thank you for coming here for this meeting. And Imran and Balaji, two amazing, I would take the liberty to call them technocrats, here to tell us about their journey. And the title itself, Technovation in Giving Back, has caught the attention of a lot of people. Over to you, Imran and Balaji.
Thanks a lot, Anand. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, based on the location you're based out of. I'm not going to be able to put a full screen mode of presentation. I hope the presentation is visible. The very reason is because I will have to admit people who are joining in now. So I'm just having a side screen doing that. Anand, I'm hoping that the presentation is visible and it's in a proper.
It is visible. Yes.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot, Anand, and thanks for setting the stage. I kind of sharing the underprivileged is what the intent and objective is, right? So first of all, thanks a lot to the entire EVidyaLoka core team for setting up the stage and facilitating such webinars, because this is a stage which will kind of act as one forum where we all like-minded people can share ideas, share thoughts, and things like that. Before I begin, just a little bit of housekeeping. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mute you all so that there's no background noise. And the way we're going to do it is the first 35 to 40 minutes between me and my friend, my colleague, my teammate, and technology. We're going to spend about 5 to 40 minutes that way. If there are any specific questions, again, we'll make it interactive. If any of you want to kind of volunteer and answer that, we'll be more than happy to kind of moderate that discussion. With that said, now I've just mute you all. We'll open up when we come to the end of the session. And if anyone has a question, feel free to put it in the chat section so that once we end our presentation, we will go over those and we will discuss more on that. Similarly, if someone has a burning thought or a burning question, there is a raise hand icon within Cisco WebEx. Kind of here because we have one particular objective in life, which is giving back, right? And giving back can be done in multiple ways and means. Obviously, there are means we can do in terms of time, effort, money, and whatnot, right? The objective behind today's webinar is focusing on one of those elements or focusing on one of those domain areas, which is technology, right? And we will talk more on the lines of what are things that we as individuals, me and Baji, have done. Corporate is,
Imran, sorry to interrupt. Your voice is breaking.
Okay. Am I audible now? Am I audible clear now?
Yes, now you're. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I'll just come closer to the mic. Yeah, so again, special thanks to the entire EVidyaLoka team. A special call out to Anant and Anushri, because the past couple of weeks they worked very closely with me and Balaji to kind of talk through the presentation, to talk through the points that we can cover, things like that, right? So special call out there. And a special call out to my end as well as those who are not.
Hello.
With that said, just a quick intro.
Imran, we are losing you. Probably you can stop your camera because it looks like a bandwidth choke.
Okay, give me a minute. Okay, hopefully it's much better now.
Yeah, looks like. Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, stop me if I'm not audible at some point, and I can kind of reiterate it. Cool. So about me, my name is Imran. I'm one of the technical managers in Cisco, and I am a volunteering enthusiast, not just with Cisco, but right from my childhood. I've always been keen and curious to volunteer with the sole motive which I mentioned, which is what we have received in whatever form and format, right? It becomes our duty to kind of give that back in certain form and format, right? Good example is the mother nature really doesn't discriminate or distinguish or bias between the rich, poor, or middle class, or things like that, right? Be it the rain, be it the water, be it the land, be it the nature itself. There's no discrimination, right? So I'm a firm believer that as humans, we should also kind of follow the same psychology and be a volunteering enthusiast, and be the bridge between the people who have and the people who don't have, right? In the upcoming slides, I'm going to speak more and more about what are the things that we have done as an organization in the field of giving back, right? And in the slide, you will see that I'm one of the Cisco's Bridge Award winner. Basically, what this award means is once a year, close to about 10 people within the entire organization of close to about 70,000 people, 10 people are chosen who have done something really unique and something which touches the hearts of the underprivileged, right? So this kind of recognizes the employees who give back to their community in some form or shape, and in a unique way, right? So this year I was recognized with that. The Be the Bridge is one of the things that within Cisco we are doing to touch the lives of underprivileged. As I said, one of my friend, colleague, teammate, Balaji Murthy is also going to be the co-presenter for this webinar. As I said, he's one of the technology geeks within my team. And the reason why we both are here is because we are like-minded, right? With the objective of being a social cause marketeer, right? And when Balaji comes to his topic, he will speak more about why he feels that the change needs to be made and what are the things that he's doing to be a catalyst for change, right? We will wait for Balaji to speak through those. Now, before I begin my talk, right, many of you might be feeling, why are we talking about giving back? Why are we talking about technology? And what is the theme around it, right? When we posted this in social media, I got a few unicast messages saying that, what's the agenda of this, right? Why are we doing it now versus before or later, right? So the presentation that we're going to talk about is kind of three-folded. To begin with, we are talking about giving back, what each of us as volunteers are doing, can be doing, could be doing to make an impact from a giving back perspective. The second theme that we are going to talk about is related to education. Why education? What is that we can do in the field of education when it comes to give back? And the crux of it is going to revolve around the third fold, which we are associated with in Cisco, which is technology, right? What are the things that we can do using technology for the education field in terms of giving back to the society, right? So that's the threefold objective of this entire presentation. So to begin with, right, as I mentioned, giving back can be done in multiple forms, right? It could be time, it could be money, it could be efforts, it could be your skill set and whatnot, right? One of the inspirational persons that we would like to quote today is Murugan, right? Murugan is an auto driver. When he was in his childhood days, right? He was homeless pretty much for about 18 years. He was homeless. He did not really have a place to stay. But as and when he grew up, right, he really managed to turn a new page in the lives of over 8,000 odd people, right, which include kids, old age people, and things like that, right? So the moral of the story is it is really not about people who are really privileged are the ones who can give back. There are people like Murugan who have been homeless, who have don't have the really needed money, but more than the skill, more than the money, it's more the will is what I'm trying to say, right? So people like Murugan are the ones who kind of motivate people like you, me, Balaji, and everyone. With that said, I'm going to talk about something that we all are here for a reason, right? So basically, volunteering or giving back. Basically, why do we do that, right? Because we do that because we have a purpose with which we are doing, right? The purpose is nothing but we want to lead a meaningful life, right? When I speak about life, people can lead a life which is a rich life, poor life, middle class life, great life, better life, whatnot, right? But I personally feel, again, this is my 2 cents. I personally feel that unless and otherwise you make a better tomorrow, unless and otherwise you can make a difference in the lives of underprivileged, right? I personally feel that I'm not leading a meaningful life, right? And with that purpose is why I say I'm a volunteering enthusiast, and I kind of relate any opportunity that comes in terms of giving back education or technology. I tag that opportunity and try to make a difference, right? And that's what I feel is a meaningful life. And the third one, the most important one, why I'm giving back, and as we are all like-minded sitting on a WebEx on a Saturday, is that we all feel that it's our responsibility as individuals to give back of what we have got, right? So frankly, when we all have received something through nature or through whatever means, right? I think it's all our responsibility to give back a portion of it, very similar to the mother nature, right? With that said, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes speaking about why we picked up this topic of education, right? Like Dr. Abdul Kalam sir said, education is one of the most powerful weapons which we can use to change the world. And I think this is a very key quote. And I think the very reason is because I said, if today I am able to educate, say, 10 kids with whatever forms, right? Those 10 kids are going to really make a difference in the coming years. And we all know that today's kids are going to be tomorrow's future, right? And I really like to take a time and kind of personally give the credit to the EVidyaLoka team because what they're doing in the space of education, and I'm telling this because myself and Balaji both have been personally associated with EVidyaLoka for close to about 6 months now. And what we can clearly say in this past 6 months is the passion with which these kids have attended the sessions that we, guys, if you can just go on mute, please. Those who are not speaking. Thank you. So again, credit goes to EVidyaLoka core team because with the motto of education and rural kids and kind of being the bridge between people like me and Balaji and the rural kids, using technology, using education, and making sure that the future is bright for the kids out there, right? With that said, I'm going to talk about what we have done from an education perspective with the whole motto and goal being we want to transform lives. We want to create the future generation to be successful. And obviously, the future generation is going to be successful. They're going to create a better world. And I personally feel that education is the one that illuminates mind and thinking, and which kind of creates self-confidence. And with self-confidence comes up your communication skill, interpersonal skills, and things like that, right? So when in the field of education, what we have done, me along with a couple of my team members, what we have done is we have created a app, right? And we call the app as Shrimati, and this is purely to pay respect to the teachers who taught us, and the teachers who kind of made us capable to be what we are today, right? So Shrimati is a application. I won't get into the technology details of what the app does, because I can speak days and days about it, right? So just to keep it to the content, Shrimati is an app which is related to self-improvement, reading information made available to help you, right? And when we started the ideation of this particular application, right, what we wanted to do is we really didn't want to touch the kids directly, and there was a specific reason behind it, right? When you or me are going to teach one particular kid, the impact that we're going to make is probably going to stay with only that one particular kid, right? But what we thought is if we are going to be able to touch the life of one particular teacher, right, that teacher is in turn going to be able to touch tens and hundreds and millions of kids in the near future. So we wanted to kind of have the multitude of impact when we were kind of ideating the application. And if you want to look at more details about what this application does, how to use, where it can be used, what are the use cases of it, there is a YouTube link that is posted here. You can go over it, and if any of you have questions, there is a comment section, or you can unicast any of your queries to me. I'll be more than happy to take that offline, right? Just to kind of connect the dots between impact and this particular application, right? What Shrimati does is it is an application which is going to connect a peer level bonding between multiple teachers, and also have a couple of mentors who have command over English as a language. Basically, this app is to teach teachers English at their own self pace, and they can use this to interact with multiple of their peers, and then form that global level impact by being the future mentors for the people who join newly to this application, right? The objective behind this application is so a lot of people can have this question. There are a lot of such applications out in the market. What's so unique about it, right? The unique functionalities behind this particular application is, first thing is it is free to download, it's free to use. The second one is from a scale perspective and a dependency perspective, there is really no support needed, because what we have done is we have kind of written multiple lines of code in Python to fetch information from the web itself, right? So which means that really there is no need to create a separate database. There's really no need for a separate infrastructure. What we are doing is we are just connecting the dots of what's out there and making sure that the teachers who want to learn language, they get it learned in a way that they want to, right? And the methodology that we're doing in this app is more like a teacher's self check-in. So how it works is on a Monday morning, the group of teachers individually will put in a check-in process saying that this week I want to focus on, say, grammar or vocabulary or whatever that is, right? So individually, what will happen is they will get content about the specific topics that they requested, which is going to be an auto push from the backend. And then on a Friday, we will roll out an assessment, which is again automated. The assessment will be specific to the topics that the teachers chose, right? And based on how well they perform the assessment, the following Monday, they will get course curriculum on the areas of their weaknesses, right? Now, good example, if I'm a teacher and I scored really well in grammar, I obviously don't want to get another course on a Monday with grammar, right? So what the application will do is it will focus purely on the other things that the teacher is not having the needed confidence, right? Example, it could be vocabulary or sentence framing and things like that. So basically, the objective of this particular application is to have self-information for the teachers itself to run the courses on their own pace, and assess themselves on a Friday and get the needed courses in the following Monday, right? Again, as I said, I can speak about Srimati for multiple hours. Just in the interest of time, I would again link you back to the YouTube link that I shared. Please feel free to have a look at it. And if you have any questions, as always, just feel free to kind of buzz me, and I'll be more than happy to help you with the questions. Now, with that said, I'm going to hand it off to Balaji to take it forward.
Yeah, thank you, Imran. So good morning, everyone. Thanks once again for your time on this weekend. So today, my name is Balaji Murthy, and I'm from Chennai. Today, I want to talk on two topics. One is the impact of education in my life, and the second one is the the happiness in giving back. So education played a significant role in my life, and which triggered me into the path of giving back to the society. So I'm the eldest son in my family, and I have two sisters, younger sisters. So being the eldest son, I had a huge responsibility to take care of the family. And I can proudly say that I'm the first graduate of my family. And I have gone through a lot of struggles in getting my education. So when I was studying in 10th standard, like I was sent back home a couple of times from the school because my parents were not able to pay my fees. And it was an embarrassing moment, and that someone walks into the middle of the class and asks you to pack your bag and leave the school. Only reason I'm was not able to pay my fees. So somehow I was managed and I was able to complete my 10th standard. And I started pursuing my, I plan to pursue my pursue my higher education in diploma. I just stop my video so that I won't impact the bandwidth. Yeah. So I planned to complete to start my diploma course, and I applied for it, and I got a counseling letter uh, to have the admission, and it was stating that I should bring a demand draft of 1,000 rupees on the day of admission. So my parents somehow managed to get the 1,000 rupees just just the day before the counseling, and I was not able to uh, get the demand draft as it was a public holiday and the bank holiday. So still we went to the counseling and counseling session, and in the inquiry room I was asking the person that whether I will be able to whether they will be able to permit me without the demand draft, since I was not able to take the demand draft. I have only cash. So they refused, and they told only thing the demand draft. I should have the demand draft to be permitted inside the counseling session. So I lost hope almost for my admission for the diploma course. Then a magical moment happened. A girl walked out of the counseling session and stating that she didn't want to do that course, and she was asking if anyone needs or wants that demand draft. So I immediately grabbed that opportunity. I went to her and requested the DD and got the DD and went into the counseling session, and finally got my admission into the diploma course, and I started my diploma. And I had got into a lot of struggles again in getting basic things like the scientific calculator, the drafter, the books, fees, everything. So a lot of people, many and many good-hearted people supported me unconditionally in whatever things I required to complete my diploma successfully. So I got my diploma, and post my diploma, one of our family friend helped me to get into a job, and I joined a company called Computer Access Private Limited (CAPL) in Chennai, and as a trainee, and I started working. So I started earning, and that's where everything changed in my life. So I was self-confident, I can do anything. And I was able to get education for my two sisters, and one of them got a diploma and the other one got a master degree MCA. the first master degree of my family. So I was also able to manage all the financial requirements of their marriages. Here, the education played a big impact, a huge impact in my life, and educating a single person transformed the entire life of the entire family for a generation. So I realized the importance of education, and that's where I thought the only way I can give back or I can show my appreciation or gratitude to the people who supported me is by giving back. So the purpose of my life changed changed to giving back to the society, which added more meaning to my life. I also take that responsibility of being the change in some of the students' life who are the future of our India, future of our nation. So I would like to again I want to echo what Imran said. I would like to thank EVidyaLoka for the great platform they have been having and bridging the students and the volunteer teachers and also the experts from different field, and the students can directly talk to them and get more insight of the education. So I would like to thank EVidyaLoka for that, and also I would like to thank the local volunteers in EVidyaLoka who have been traveling to the schools during our sessions, remote sessions, and they were helping us or facilitating us in connecting the students. Like they will be coming to the school and assembling the students, and they will be managing the internet and the Skype connections, so that it will be easy for us to get connected to the students and communicate with them. So while we were doing these sessions, many of our colleagues and friends in Cisco got inspired, and they they started their giving back to the society in associating with the uh, organization like NGO like EVidyaLoka and few other NGOs. And we recently did voice audio book recording and audio stories for the visually impaired students. So that was a huge thing we have did now recently. As Cisco always says, we are the bridge between the hope and possibilities, and we were trying to bridge the hope and possibility wherever there is a need for the education. I also part of an NGO called Agram Foundation in Chennai. So I have been associating with Agram Foundation for last 8 years, and the reason why I was associated with Agram Foundation is they also similar to EVidyaLoka. They are doing a tremendous job in education of the rural kids, and as in the previous slides you have seen Mr. Dr. Abdul Kalam said, the education is the powerful tool to change and to change anything in this world. So I started associating with them, and I have traveled multiple places, many villages throughout Tamil Nadu. And the thing what we observed is in the rural areas, there are a lot of dropouts students after the 12th standard. So what are the primary reasons is till the 12th standard, they were able to get free education from the nearby government schools, and post that they were not able to pursue their higher education because there are multiple reasons. One, the financial problem, and there was no proper guidance from their family. Few of them have lost their both the parents. Few of them are single parent, and there were no proper guidance in the family to support them in the pursuit of a higher education. Few challenges like the parents in the rural areas were hesitating to send the girl students and girls outside the villages for their higher education, and few parents get their children get married once they completed their 12th standard. So we addressed all these gaps, and being the bridge between the students and supporting them and guiding them towards pursuing their higher education. Also, we did like speaking to the students and the parents, and making them aware of the importance of education, and also overcome the social economic challenges they are facing in the day-to-day life. So being seen, a lot of students, almost more than 2,000 students have been passed out till now for last 10 years, and means that 2,000 families have been we have changed the future of 2,000 families, and this created a huge impact. So that's one of the main reason I was um, involving myself, engaging myself in the space of education. So when it comes to technology and innovation, education, I strongly believe that the technology and education should play an important role, uh, and making the traditional classroom sessions and the textbooks. We need to just in the near future, it's going to change everything. And using this technology, we need to make that traditional classrooms as not just a room and a location. Instead of, we need to bring it as an experience, like what we do now through EVidyaLoka, like making them to feel that interactive sessions, enriching, engaging, interactive and attentive sessions, and so that the students are benefited through this technology and grasping the education throughout from any part of the place. So when I talk about technology, through technology we can change everything. Like most of us, we say the students study, study, study. So I hate the word study, because instead of studying something, you need to learn something. If you study something, you will forget. If you learn something, you won't forget. Like like the way, like we don't study driving, we don't study swimming. We learn swimming and we learn driving so that it won't forget. So we need to create a platform for these kids, for the students, using this technology and innovation, so that they can listen, they can learn, they can understand, they can think, and they can create. So we need to make a great space for the creativity on the students, instead of always pushing them towards the marks. So when I talk to about innovation, innovation is not to be very complex. I see innovation as a innovation like a simplifying any process by either reducing time, or it should be increase the productivity. So here we strongly believe that technology, as from Cisco, we strongly believe this technology is going to be everywhere in the near future, and we should use that technology and enable the technology. And the reason we should expedite this is, like the children in rural area faces the challenges like inequality and exclusion. And even a single step towards the education gives the great huge changes in the student's life. So I would like to, before I hand it over to Imran, I would like to say the future of our children, or the future of our the students, is in our hands. And let's start today, and let's have an expedited reach and impact by using the technology and innovation as enablers. As I said, technology and innovation are just as enablers, and the teachers play a critical role and key role in these things. So teachers should adapt to the technology and innovation, and use them as a platform between the students, and making these sessions, making these classrooms very interactive, either in the like in the traditional education system, it's always the teacher speaks and the students listens. We should change that. It should be an interactive session. The students also should raise questions, should interact, should share that experience to the teachers. So I strongly believe that the future, the students are the future of the nation, but the teachers who are playing the critical role in bringing that future into a good shape. So I would like to say that let's start today, and let's let's contribute our time and technology, whatever space we have towards education. And as Mr. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, the father of our nation, said, be the change that you wish to see in the world. So we all are optimistic and we expect a better change in this world. And the change should begin from me, the change should begin from you, the change should begin from us. So I would request you all to be the change that you wish to see in the world. Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot, Balaji. Really appreciate your insights. And as I always tell you, right, I've heard your personal story, your personal hurdles, the personal challenges. I wouldn't call personal challenges, rather personal opportunities that you got. And each time you tell it, it is always sounding like something new and some new opportunity that you kind of addressed, right? So thanks a lot for sharing it with wider audience. What I should say is the way you turned around your financial challenges from a family front and the way you turned around and to what heights you have reached today, it's a credit in itself to what you did, to what the people around you surrounded you and helped you achieve what you dreamed for. And the most important, again, I want to connect to the story that I shared about Murugan, right? I think you're an inspiration to many of us like me, where you did not stop with the challenges, you did not crib about it. Rather, you wanted to kind of turn those opportunities to positive moments, magical moments, and then turn around the story from, say, a negative to a positive turnaround, right? And the most positive thing is you just didn't stop there. What you did is what you face today, you don't want it to be faced by any other person as much as possible, right? So what you're doing in the space of education, what you're doing in the space of EVidyaLoka, Agaram, it is all commendable job, right? I'm again calling out EVidyaLoka team. The reason is because many of you might be thinking, so with all that you're telling, you are telling that the classrooms are no more relevant. The answer is no, right? Classrooms are definitely relevant. What me and you have learned through classrooms, the exposure and the experience that we have got through classrooms is just unimaginable, right? So that needs to continue. What me and Balaji are trying to convey here is the remote sessions that we are doing, right? So each of us in this forum have got equipped with some specialization, right? It could be software, hardware, something of that nature, right? We being the special guest to these kids earlier in their age, right? And talking about our experience, talking about what we have learned, talking about how they can convert those into opportunities, right? That 1 hour per week, I personally feel it's going to make a huge difference, right? Because I always tell my team that learning is key, but teaching is super important, right? So whatever you learn, you got to kind of share that knowledge and care for the people who don't have it, right? And I think what we also did as a part of the EVidyaLoka series for the couple of quarters with 30 odd sessions, right? We also invited a couple of my teammates to come and be a part of the journey that we are going through, right? It was a unique experience. And you know what? The portion of a majority of my team has now got so impressed, and now they have started contributing, and they are going to get associated with EVidyaLoka and many other such NGOs in this space of giving back in education, right? And Balaji touched upon at least close about 10 people from my team are already associated to another NGO where we are doing bedtime stories, right? So we were so fortunate enough that when we were kids, we had this opportunity of reading or listening to bedtime stories before going to bed, right? We want to kind of share what we got to the underprivileged kids. So what we have done is we have recorded multiple sessions for the underprivileged kids and for the visually impaired kids with bedtime stories. So we create about 100 plus stories in a week's time, recorded them, published in a central repository so that visually impaired people can listen to them as bedtime stories before they go to bed, right? And as I said, half of my team is already so impressed and inspired that they are doing more and more. So the next time when we do a webinar, we are going to share more stories of what we achieved regardless of lockdown, right? I think to touch upon Balaji's point, the teachers and the school experience is super important, right? And the very reason why we are doing this webinar on the technology topic is because our life is no usual now, right? With the COVID scenario. And now the use of technology with NGOs like EVidyaLoka and others, leveraging the technology to be the bridge between the kids and us is what is important, right? So again, reiterating, the classroom is not going to go away. The classroom is super important. Along with it, this is more a complementary, additional flavor of technology usage will take things to the next height, right? Moving on, this is some images from Balaji's journey. This is something that he did when he went to Agaram. There were a few villages, remote villages and remote hills in Tamil Nadu districts, where regardless of be it sun, rain, the entire team of Agaram along with Balaji were relentless, right? And they were relentless and they wanted to do it because of the very reason of giving back and a purpose in their life, and making sure that the purpose relates to a meaningful life, right? So now the question comes, how can I give back, right? Some of it will be a repeat because I've touched upon many of these in the past. So there are multiple elements of giving back, right? And few of you who are reading the sites would notice that I mentioned time twice, right? And the very reason that we have done that is because of everything, the most important thing is time. And who better than us can value that? Because on a Saturday morning, instead of spending time with our friends and family, instead of doing things that we like, we focusing on one of the things that we like, which is giving back, and spending an effort of about an hour on a webinar to kind of learn something new, share something new in the efforts of how can I give back itself speaks volume, right? So time is super important. And more, it's a vicious circle, right? So it's a circle, it's a life cycle, and time plays a key role, right? For those who don't find time or are not able to find time because of obvious priorities, the other elements that you can do is in giving back space is your expertise, right? So expertise and innovation kind of go hand in hand, right? So if you're an expert in developing code, you're expert in developing infrastructures, you're expert in, say, logistics, you're an expert, say, in digital learning, or you're an expert in, say, civil areas, all of that expertise tagged along with innovation is going to play a key role, right? With that said, people who are unable to do any of it, money also plays a vital role, because there might be few experts, there might be few innovative geeks, there might be people who can spend time. For them, if there is a hurdle to kind of execute their dreams due to the lack of financial needs, I think the people who contribute in the space of money will help stitch those three people with time, expertise, and innovation. So there are multiple elements and multiple flavors of give back. It all depends on what your passion is, what you want to do. Based on that, you can pick up one of these, or you can pick up all of these, right? So that's a food for thought from a give back perspective. Now, when we started building this webinar discussion points, right? The theme, as I said, is what are the impacts that you can create by giving back, right? And the four important P's of impact are purpose, passion, perseverance, and perpetual, right? If some of you have a purpose with which you want to do a give back, you can relate to the stories that we shared, be it Murugan, be it Balaji, or be it Srimati, right? If there is a specific purpose that you are trying to achieve to make sure that there is a better tomorrow and there is a change in today for a excellent tomorrow, right? You define your own purpose, right? And based on how you define your purpose, there should be a passion to achieve that purpose, right? You need to be passionate about something. It could be technology, it could be education, it could be whatever you think is your passion, right? Because unless there is a passion, I don't think you'll be able to drive and reach your purpose. And once you define your purpose and once you're passionate about your own purpose, there should be perseverance, right? Unless you feel that you are going to do something and it's going to make a change and you're going to achieve something to meet your passion and purpose, I think you will not be able to stick to it for a long time, right? So your longevity to stick to a particular passion and purpose, it all depends on your perseverance. So you need to pick up something that you really love about. Good example is education, innovation, and things like that, right? And the end of it is you should not start something and stop, say, in 6 months, 1 year. It should be a lifelong cycle, right? If today I am associated with EVidyaLoka for, say, a couple of years in the education segment, after a couple of years, I should continue in EVidyaLoka or some other form or factor associated with education or something at that time what my passion is, right? So the moral of the story is you have started creating an impact, stick to it, continue doing it. And as Balaji rightly mentioned, we are all here to change the world in a positive manner. It all starts with I, it all starts with we, it all starts with us. And if we all think we can all join together and make an impact, trust me, we are going to be a catalyst for change. We are all going to be a bridge to possible. And we will definitely make the next coming generations, and we'll be able to hand off a good nature, a good society, a good place to live for the generations to come. With that said, I'm going to open up for Q&A, comments, feedbacks. We have got about 9 minutes. So over to you, Anant, to moderate and field any questions. As a team, we can do that.
Thank you, Imran and Balaji. The talk was quite inspiring, as you can see from the comments of the participants. So now we are open for questions. The questions can be asked in the chat, or using the feature here, you can speak your question to the participants.
Yeah, actually, I had a question. This is Upendra here. My question was, what are next steps, and how can we get involved with different initiatives?
Sure, maybe I'll take it, and then, as I said, we'll open up for multiple comments, right? So, great question, Upendra. As me and Balaji said, what we are doing is every element is just the beginning of it, right? And we need to continue doing that. And if someone really wants to start, there are multiple ways to start, right? Again, it all depends on what purpose and what passion you have, right? Just to quote examples, if you are interested in doing something in the space of education, and if you're passionate about teaching young kids remotely, being at your own place, right? I think people like Anant and Anushri can tag you with the EVidyaLoka effort. Basically, what they do is every year at the start of the course curriculum, they reach out to volunteers and like-minded people like me and Balaji, and they ask if we have the needed bandwidth and if we want to teach the kids for the say next 1 year, right? And then we get associated with them for a year, and every week, twice in a week, for about an hour, they schedule the slot with the rural school kids. Again, the flexibility that we have is depending on which language you're comfortable. You can do English, you can do Tamil, you can do Hindi, whichever language you're comfortable with. They can tag you along with the respective districts within India. And then the good part is they have an on-site facilitator who will work with you so that you don't have any remote connectivity challenges and things like that, right? One of the things, again, I forgot to call out, thanks for flagging that, is the kids are so passionate that once me and Balaji thought that we should go and meet these kids at least once face to face, right? And that way we build that bonding and get a face attached to the name. And then once we start doing more remote sessions, we will be able to connect even more, right? And few of the images that we shared, you can see the amount of interest that these kids show, right? More than us, they are very willing to understand what we are going to present to them, what we are going to teach them, what they're going to learn out of us and things like that, right? So long story short, to answer your question, you can get associated in multiple ways. We can connect offline if you want. You can connect with Anushri and Anant for EVidyaLoka. But if you're interested in recording bedtime stories, or if you're interested in volunteering for helping the undergraduate, underprivileged kids to prepare themselves for interviews, there is another initiative that I'm working. For Agaram, you can still touch base with Balaji Murthy. So it is endless opportunities, right? So it all begins where you want to start, what your passion is. Again, the 4 P's is what you need to define, right? If you know what your 4 P's are, you will be able to find out where you started. Hope I was able to answer your question.
Yeah. Thanks for that answer, Imran. It helps. So I'm already involved with EVidyaLoka. I've been teaching at some schools for the last 1 year. So, but so how do we contact people for other initiatives if I want to?
Sure. So Upendra, you're a part of Cisco, right? Or you're not?
Yes, I'm part
Okay.
of Cisco.
Just ping me offline. Within Cisco, we have an entire CSR team, and I can tag you along with them, and I can even keep you posted on the future opportunities that come our way. And that's purely from Cisco standpoint. Outside Cisco, as I said, Agaram is there, eVidya is there. There are multiple others, right? And just for everyone's awareness, EVidyaLoka is also associated partnered NGO with Cisco. So anything that we do with them is also through Cisco.
Cool. Okay, thanks a lot, Imran.
I think Anant can explain that process to this on EVidyaLoka so that everyone will be aware of that.
Yes, I'll take a moment to do this. Yes. So EVidyaLoka is a team of about 40 people. We have 237 centers. That is, our digital classrooms are present in 237 centers across 10 states in India. We teach in 6 languages: Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Hindi, Marathi, and Bengali. So when a volunteer registers on our platform through Cisco, Cisco employees usually come through an engagement program, and so after that we have a talk with them where we tell them what the requirement is and how it is done. We also have one person picked from that locality, trained in the basic usage of a computer, who will act as an extended arm of the online teacher. They are there in the school whenever the classes happen to help the volunteer teacher who comes online. Yes. So after that, we orient you, like when you give your preference of your time and your preferred language and preferred subjects. So we teach 5th grade to 8th grade science, math, and English. These are the 3 subjects. So once you select them, we then show you what options are available. We fit the best, the best match. We try to make the best match. And once that is done, we orient the respective volunteer teachers about that particular center, the history, the geography, the class, the some aspects of the culture, some aspects of how the school actually came into being, how long we have been there, and what other factors play, influence the whole life there. And all this will orient you on that. And after that, you will be introduced to the class and the class assistant, the person who's in the class, and then the teaching begins. So we'll introduce you. The whole thing is seamlessly done. We'll handhold till you start teaching, till your first class. I mean, we are there throughout. So that's how the process goes. This is with EVidyaLoka. And at present, what has happened after the lockdown, a lot of schools have been turned into quarantine centers. And yeah, so it's pretty uncertain, as you all know, in all the places. We do not know when it will open back. So we are in a pilot mode on one other initiative called Learn from Home. It's wherever we could find devices in the rural areas, and whichever students we could connect, we are connecting them and engaging them in some sort of way, so that we keep them in touch, so that they don't go far away from this whole concept of learning going on. So that is one initiative, and in that, select number of volunteers are engaged. I mean, the opportunity is increasing at a very slow proportion. The whole thing challenged by the availability of devices. So that is the activity currently happening. So all the regular classes, those will happen once the schools are up and running. This is the current scenario. I have shared in the chat the link to the EVidyaLoka website, where one should register as a volunteer. And I've also shared the campaign where the whole story of what is the current scenario and what we're trying to do is there. That is a Give India link, a link to the Give India platform. Yes. So I hope I answered the question, or I have clarified on how we go about.
So I think there's a user called Madhu Ramesh with a question: whom should I contact? Had selected the timing subject twice a week, 1 hour each. Whom should I contact for further clarity? So Anand, if you can just throw some light on
sure.
that.
Mr. Madhu Ramesh, we will contact you on that. Anushri, can we do this? Anushri, can you please?
We can do that. We can do that.
Yes, we can. We will reach out to you, Ramesh. We know the name, and if you could share with Anushri, we will reach out to you separately. We will have your details. We'll do that.
Thanks, Anand.
Yeah.
Any Sorry, team, any other questions that you have? We'll just take one final question and then we'll wrap it up just in the interest of time.
Quick, I mean, this is not a question, but I guess we work with the people with disability, children with disability, and Anant, your point wherein learn from home, right? That has been a big challenge for us also, right? 10% of children are with disability, most of them because of inaccessible environment, schools, and they cannot tap into formal education system. So, I mean, this is amazing work which you guys are doing, EVidyaLoka, and of course Cisco. And I hope that this learn from school probably will also create a use case for children with disability who may not be able to, come down to school. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for those comments. Again, team, I think Anant and team are going to post this recording in social media, take it forward, share it with your friends and families. Again, as I said, spread the word about goodness. Let's spread the word of making that change for a positive and a better tomorrow. With that said, thanks again for everyone's time on a Saturday. Really appreciate you taking this time to listen to me and Balaji. Again, as I said, feel free to unicast any of your queries. We can be reached. Anant and team can share information about us. You can unicast to us if you have any specific things, any specific initiatives that you felt really made sense and you want to be a part of it. Just feel free to reach out to us. Thanks, Anant. Over to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a wonderful session, and once again, I would like to say the stories were inspiring. And thank you for all the patience, the questions, and everything. This is from the EVidyaLoka team. I will I'll leave my email ID. You can write to me with any of the queries that you think remain unanswered.
Hey, Anant, just sorry, I'm going to interrupt you here. If everyone can just enable video for a minute, we'll just do a quick team photo or a group photo. That will just be a memory for all of us that we all like-minded people got together on a Saturday on June the 20th, just for a memory purpose. I'm still waiting for everyone's video to be populated. Hey, Ankit, Bhavin, Brinda, Banu, can you just please enable video? You might hear a screenshot sound here. Yeah, let's wait for another minute. Other videos to get turned on, please. Aditya, Aru, Malla, Sing me four. You're the just four people. You just need to click on, and then we are good to click. Thank you. Really appreciate it. It's been a great hour talking to you guys, connecting with you guys. Looking forward to work with each of you in some form and shape in the near future. Again, thanks a lot for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks.